Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Intrepid Investor Podcast. I am your host, Vanessa Dallas, buyer's agent and investor, and this podcast is here to help you on your investment journey in the crazy world we live in right now. There is so much media out there, there is so much on social media, there is so much noise, and we need you to hone in, focus, and get on with your property purchase. So, last episode was a great one. If you haven't listened to it, please go back and have a listen, especially if you have been looking for a while. The reason you have been looking for a while is because you're all up in your head, you've got analysis paralysis, you're hearing all these different things and you don't know what to focus on. And then time goes by, the property market still goes up, the prices are still going up, and you're getting priced out of suburbs that you were looking at before and you haven't even realized it. So, there were 7 issues that I spoke about last week, and one of them I really want to deep dive on in this episode because I'm finding that I'm hearing a lot of fear out there from investors. I posted this thing on TikTok and it was part of the last episode. It was more about how the capital gains tax can affect your position, because I believe that an increase in the capital gains tax, meaning you get taxed more of your earnings on property or whatever else you are investing in when you sell the property, then you actually will have to pay more tax. You will lose out and you will not have as big a profit as you would have had before. Is this a reason for you to not invest in property? Absolutely not. If anything, this should be more of an incentive for you to invest in property. And I'll tell you why. I find that the government wants to control us, okay, without going all 1984 on you. And if you haven't read that book, please do. It was honestly my favorite book in high school. Anyway, George Orwell, freaking legend. So the government essentially wants to get votes. Right? They want to actually help the majority. They want so that they can get votes. The majority wins. That's why Trump ended up going down the Republican route, and that's why our Prime Minister is letting in all these immigrants. But let's not go into that part of things. So basically what's happening now is homeowners are finding they are struggling buying homes because they are competing against investors, is what the government is trying to tell you. They are saying that they are going to increase taxes and make it more difficult for investors to make any money or for it to make it any appeal to purchase property. And in a way, yes, this deters investors. What it also does is puts more pressure onto the market, and in turn will eventually increase the property prices even more. Any government incentive that has happened in terms of investment properties has actually made it harder for first home buyers and easier for investors. And I'm not saying in a monetary sense, but what it does is it knocks out the weaker investors and it lets the stronger ones rise. And in this little TikTok that I had posted, this person sent back a message. They commented on it and they said, "Glad I sold my only outback investment property last year. Downsized my house 4 years ago and bought a small rural property and this little investment. $70,000 in stamp duty for that exercise. I now have $25,000 capital gains bill from the sale of the investment. Another investor bought it. One of that owns multiple properties and will continue renting it out to the government at an enormous rent because the government overpay for everything. Wasteful as they are, sure, I will no longer invest in things that this government keeps taking a chunk of. Many people feel the same, so builders cannot build because the government red taped the costs. Government keeps bringing in immigrants when they have no housing. They're not interested in anything but the revenue they can get. And the people voting for this type of government are not productive people. They are bought by the offer of more freedom. But the pool of money is drying up and the Australian debt is increasing. Where's Albanese's plan to keep employing people on the government budget, working from home 4 days a week, so unproductive? We are on our way to communism. Well done, Labor voters. Okay, there is a lot there, and clearly this person is not a fan of Labor, but a lot of the things were quite true. And what I really want to unpack is that she was saying that she doesn't want to invest in things that the government keeps taking a chunk of. This sentence really got me because, if anything, the reason that the government is deterring you from these is because they don't want you to have money to make your own decisions. They want you to be reliant on the government. Essentially, that's what it is. They don't want you to start thinking on your own. They don't want you to build a portfolio, to build riches, to then be able to do what you want. They want you to be controlled, which is why they tax the rich more, which is why they give benefits to the poor. It's like, ooh, you're getting all these benefits, but you still owe me. Ooh, you're getting all these benefits, but where are we getting this money from? Unfortunately, people don't care if they're getting benefits. They don't care where it comes from. They're just happy that it's coming from it. And then the rich are always to blame. But saying that you're not going to invest in things that the government keeps taking from means you're never going to invest in anything again. In fact, it also means that you probably don't want to be working too hard, because the harder, not necessarily harder, but smarter you work, the more income you get. And the higher income that you get and that you actually declare, the higher tax bracket you're in. And so when you're in the higher tax bracket, you're almost paying 50% of your income to the government. That is insane. And it is unfortunately what the higher income earners have to do. Like yourself, probably listen to this podcast and you're probably thinking, oh yeah, I know this. Tell me something I don't know. But then my question to you is, why wouldn't you try to get into investing? Why wouldn't you try to get into property or shares or whatever the government takes from? Because yes, you will have to give some back to the government. It's just how it is in Australia. But you still get to be on top. You still get money back as well. And let's not forget, you still will get more. The government doesn't take all of it. It doesn't take 70% of your profit. It would take the taxable income of that percentage, which again, isn't great. But what's the opportunity cost here? Is it better for you not to have a property at all and just rely solely on your 9-to-5 job that is taxed at 50% basically, and then just keep working until you save enough that you have enough savings for your retirement? Because let's be honest, we're not getting the pension. And we are definitely not seeing much in terms of super, because although we may have a lot in our super funds, they get taxed as well. So, does this mean you're just never going to retire? You're just going to keep working? Does it mean that you are going to keep working but even harder so you can have more money, but then the more money you get, the more you get taxed? So no, that wouldn't work out either. You need to be smart with your money. And you need to understand that tax is tax. What do people say? I forgot who it was, but there are two unavoidable things in the world: death and taxes. Unless you go and move to somewhere like Dubai. But, again, that's a whole nother thing that we won't get into today. And actually, I've heard that they are starting to tax the people there. But regardless, it will be way less than ours. And the best part of investing is that you are still in control. You have the choice of what to invest in. You have the choice of how to use that investment. You can hold on to it. You can increase the rents. You can add a bedroom. There are so many things you can do that are still within your control. What is not in your control is the tax. But why are you going to stress over it when you're still going to be winning at the end of the day? You are still going to be on top. And if I'm completely honest, you probably won't be selling that property, which means you shouldn't even care about the capital gains tax in the end anyway. The capital gains tax is there when you sell the property. If you are just starting up your portfolio, you're not going to sell the property in another 10, 20 years. And by then, who knows what's going to happen with capital gains tax. But in the meantime, you would have already started earning passive income from that property. That is income that the rent gives you back because your mortgage has been settled. If you invest smart, if you invest with the right rental yield, within 10 years, your property should be paying for itself. I'm just going to repeat that. Within 10 years, your property should be paying for itself, meaning the rental income pays the property and then you get whatever extra comes out of that. And I'm not just talking about the mortgage, I'm talking about all the other expenses that come along with it too. So I responded to this person and I said, look, understand your frustration. Understand why you would say you would never want to invest in property again or in anything that the government takes. But that literally means every single thing in this world. Whatever you buy, whatever services you take on, whatever property you buy, and even not to live in yourself, obviously they don't actually tax that, but any other thing that you possibly buy in this world is taxed. It's just how it is. So I want to leave you with this. If you haven't invested in property yet, I want you to ask yourself why. And if it's because you're scared of what the government is going to get back, then I really want you to reconsider your options. I want you to do your numbers and find out how much it's going to be for that property, what your expenses are going forward, including all the taxes. You've got your land tax every year, you've got your stamp duty that you pay on purchase, you've got your view tax if you're in Gold Coast and buying a property higher than the 5th floor. There's a whole bunch of them. But what is going to be your tax? Oh, and if you are positively geared, obviously you're paying income tax on that as well. And then see, are you still going to be making money off the purchase? And I almost guarantee you, if it is a good investment property, you will be. It will take time. And property investments do take time. It is a waiting game, and a lot of us don't like to wait anymore. But that's not going to give you long-term wealth. It's not going to give you the freedom that you want and the lifestyle that you want. For you, your children, or whatever your why is, why ever you are purchasing property, you won't be able to get those goals without it. In today's day and age, your income is not enough. Your 9-to-5 income is not enough. Not all of us can climb the ladder to become CEOs and earn over $500,000 a year. So what's your backup plan? And if you don't have one, you need to really consider it. Speak to a financial advisor, speak to your accountant. If you don't have either of those, hit me up. I'm more than happy to share my sources with you. Talk to a mortgage broker. Suss out your options. Again, I've got plenty of amazing mortgage brokers that I work with that I would absolutely love to pass on to you if you don't have those resources at your fingertips. Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to your team. And if you need advice as to what type of property to look at, please hit me up. I'm on Instagram. I'm on all the socials at Vanessa V. Dallas. Everything's in the show notes as well. But it's just one of those things that I just really am passionate about, because I want the average Australian to be winning. I don't want us to be relying on what the government tells you or what new taxes are out there and us to be suffering from them. I want us to be above that. And the only way you can get above it is if you invest and if you get more money, get more equity, and just be ahead instead of churning and being on the 9-to-5 wheel alone. Yes, 9-to-5 is great. And actually the banks love you 9-to-5ers. Love, love, love. But you need more. I hope this episode has made things a little bit clearer as to why property investing is so important, why it is necessary for you to do more than just your 9-to-5 income. And yeah, like I said, if you need any help, I'm always here. Please share this with anyone that you know who is struggling a little bit right now with the concept of investing in property and you think may need this episode to help them out on their journey. And if you could please like and share this episode, that would be absolutely amazing. I am looking at bringing on some awesome guests coming soon this year, and I am definitely continuing with posting one episode a week. So please share and follow. Have a beautiful night and keep being intrepid investors. Bye for now.